The Netherlands has become the third country to deem China's treatment of the Uighur Muslim minority a genocide. So Ian Lee is following that story as well as others from London. Ian, what can you tell us?
Good morning, Anne-Marie. Yeah, the dominoes are beginning to fall. First, it was the United States, then Canada. Now the Netherlands becomes the latest country to accuse China of genocide. The Dutch parliament made the declaration yesterday in a non-binding motion. The Netherlands is the first European country to declare China's treatment of its Uyghur Muslim minority community a genocide. The U.S. State Department estimates up to 2 million Uyghurs are being held in a sprawling network of internment camps. Former detainees describe forced labor, torture, sterilization, systematic rape, and even deaths. Beijing denies the allegations, saying that camps provide vocational training and are needed to fight extremism. Next, we are in Armenia, where the prime minister says he is facing an attempted military coup. The general chief of staff of the country's armed forces is calling for Nikol Pashinyan to resign. The army chief criticized Pashinyan's recent decision to fire a senior member of the armed forces, adding that he's no longer able to make reasonable decisions. Thousands of people gathered in Armenia's capital in support of the prime minister, and this crisis follows months of criticism targeting Pashinyan's handling of Armenia's war with Azerbaijan last year. Next, we are in Russia, where Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny has been moved from a Moscow prison to a detention center in an unknown location. He's been a thorn in Vladimir Putin's side by highlighting the president's alleged corruption and calling for mass anti-government protests, the largest we've seen in years. Earlier this month, a Moscow court sentenced Navalny to nearly 3 years in prison. The ruling is widely considered to be politically motivated. And yesterday, EU leaders condemned the treatment of the opposition leader and demanded his immediate release. Finally, we are in North Korea, where Russian diplomats didn't quite get the red carpet treatment when they were exiting the country. They had to push themselves for nearly a mile over train tracks. Now, North Korea has blocked most passenger transport to limit the spread of the coronavirus, so the diplomats had no choice but to pack up their belongings on a cart and start pushing. Russia's foreign ministry posted the adventure on their Facebook page. It took 32 hours by train, bus, and eventually a pushcart to finally reach Russia. Anne-Marie, this story makes me laugh. Sometimes you just got to get creative when you need to get somewhere. I feel like I can relate to a few years back. I had to hitchhike across the border to get to a story because the country's airspace was closed, and the journey was a lot of fun, though.
Okay, if you say it was a lot of fun. I feel like that's a story that we need to share over a pint or a glass of wine or
here's
something.
Here's a picture.
Oh,
I got a picture for you.
You know what?
This is after 36 hours, no sleep, and I was hanging out with some friends the night before. But I got the phone call. They said you got to get to Turkey. There had been a coup attempt at that time, so I ran. And then on the right, just a few hours later, I was TV ready, combed through the hair, and new shirt. So you know, the magic of television.
You know what, Ian, you are a pro, because you cannot tell you were going through that ordeal at all. But I got to say, that first picture doesn't look like a guy who's having fun, but it looks like a guy who's coping.
It was, you know, hindsight, you know, it's a lot fun to talk about. Yeah, that's the truck I had to talk to the driver to get me across the border. He was quite nice, but yeah, I was just exhausted at that point.
All right, well, when all of this ends, we need to get together, and I want the details on that whole story from beginning to end. Ian, thank you very much.
Absolutely.